She's a small wonder.
Do you remember Small Wonder? It was the Fox television network's very first sitcom ever, and featured a robot that looked like a young girl. It grew to be incredibly popular around the world. But even though it was a hit with audiences, it is widely considered to be the worst sitcom of all time, and the series' star has completely disappeared from public view. What happened to Small Wonder? Small Wonder was a sci-fi sitcom geared towards children that ran from 1985 to 1989 for a total of 96 episodes. The show followed the family of a robotics engineer who secretly created a robot modeled after a human girl, then tried to pass it off as their adopted daughter. This high concept was created by Howard Leeds, a former child actor who had gone on to become a television writer. In the 60s, he had worked on a series called My Living Doll, which featured an adult female android owned by a male character who tried to blend her in with society.
What is this stupid gag about your being a robot?
I am a robot.
This concept must have stuck with him because 2 decades later, he tried to revive the idea with a few tweaks to fit an 80s audience. In the 80s, humanoid robots were in, with Daryl, the Terminator, and the Disney Channel's Not Quite Human. The concept of a robot hiding in plain sight was definitely in the pop culture zeitgeist at the time, and Howard Leeds wanted to capitalize on it. Leeds tweaked his idea to be about a child robot who slowly adopted human traits, which he intended to be broadly written for children, saying, "The idea of a child robot dropped into a comedy situation is a natural evolution for today's video generation." After being turned down by NBC, Leeds sold the concept to Metro Media, who committed to purchasing 13 episodes of the show with a budget of $300,000 each, which Leeds believed to be the lowest of any sitcom on television. As for the show's setup, Leeds leaned on the sitcom trope of a normal suburban family who have to hide a secret from the world, a formula also used by V.I.C.I, Mork and Mindy, Harry and the Hendersons, and Alf.
Alf, hide!
No. It's time I took a stand. It is a far, far better thing I do.
Small Wonder started with Ted Lawson, an engineer for United Robotronics, who secretly took a robot home with him from work after his boss canceled the project.
I told you I was working on that special project at the lab.
The one you've been working on all those nights?
I didn't even tell my boss about it. Anyway, I decided it was in good enough shape to show it to him today. He wouldn't even discuss it.
Well, what is it? Why wouldn't he discuss it with you?
This.
The robot was a voice input child identicant.
V.I.C.I, that means voice input child identicant. It means it can be controlled by voice command. It's a computerized robot.
At home, Ted finally finished his work on V.I.C.I and powered her on for the first time.
Open your eyes and stand up. Well, if I do say so myself, you are fantastic.
I'm fantastic.
When introduced, his family took a while to wrap their heads around having a robot in the house.
I'd like you both to meet V.I.C.I.
Vicky.
Oh, yeah, my voice input child identicant. V.I.C.I, I pronounce it Vicky.
Vicky. That's cute.
Come in here, Vicky. Say hello to my family.
Hello to my family.
Ted, are you putting us on? That's a real kid, right?
No, it's a robot.
I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Jamie. I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Vicky. Shake hands.
The Lawsons decided to keep the robot's existence a secret, but their nosy next-door neighbor Harriet snooped through the window and got curious about the new girl, so Jamie had to quickly make up the story that Vicky is his cousin.
I'm Harriet. Who are you? you? Vicky's my cousin. Yeah. And she's leaving today.
The show's humor frequently derived from Vicky's attempts to learn human behavior.
Oh, just drop those in the sink, Vicky.
Okay, is that everything?
And the family's efforts to disguise the robot's true nature from the world. Playing the role of Vicky was Tiffany Brissett, who had to speak in a monotone voice and betray no emotion whatsoever.
At the time will be 5:22 and 12 seconds.
Which was a deceptively difficult job for a child. As a robot, she had some incredible abilities, including superhuman strength, superhuman speed, an elastic stretching ability. She could shrink, and also embiggen. She was magnetic. She also had a printer in her mouth, and could jumpstart a car. While she looked like a normal 10-year-old girl, she also had removable hair.
Would you rather have a redhead?
An AC outlet under her right arm, a data port under her left arm, and an access panel in her back. And while not in use, Vicky lived in a cabinet in Jamie's bedroom.
Vicky, what's she doing in there?
Father Ted Lawson was played by Dick Christie. He was a robotics engineer who originally created the Vicky robot. Mother Joan Lawson was played by Marla Pennington. Joan, more than anyone else on the show, regarded Vicky as a real person instead of a robot. However, her character was so ill-defined and poorly written that writers struggled to find things for her to do on the show, and often introduced her by just chopping carrots in the kitchen. Brother Jamie Lawson was played by Jerry Suprian. He tried to take advantage of Vicky by making her do his homework and chores, but he also tried to teach her how to be a normal kid. Nosy neighbor Harriet Brindle was played by Emily Schulman. She had a major crush on Jamie and would consistently be seen spying on the Lawsons through their windows.
Our neighbor, Peeping Harriet, is at it again.
Harriet's father, Brandon Brindle, was played by William Bogart. He was equally as annoying as his daughter. He ended up becoming Ted's boss after stealing Ted's ideas, and did his best to lie, cheat, and steal to get him further up the corporate ladder. Harriet's mother, Bonnie Brindle, was played by Edie McClurg, and she was just as intrusive as the rest of her family.
Say hello to Mr. and Mrs. Brindle.
Hello to Mr. and Mrs. Brindle.
Harriet's right, she does talk funny.
Later in the series, an evil version of Vicky was created named Vanessa.
Come in here, please, Vanessa.
Well, who's Vanessa?
She was an evil robot who looked identical to Vicky, but did not speak in monotone.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Jamie. Chocolate cake. It looks terrific.
She was smart-mouthed and conniving.
Not okay. You can clean up the garage yourself. It'll help you work off those chins.
And could be treacherous at times.
There! Now you don't have the ball. Make your bed.
Something interesting about Small Wonder is the number of special effects they had to employ to represent Vicky's robot abilities. Every Thursday morning on set was devoted to these shots, using a primitive version of green screen technology. These shots were numerous and took a lot of trial and error. Because of this, they were shot early in the day with Tiffany before the full cast arrived. In fact, if you notice, most of the special effects shots on the show are of Vicky alone. Another challenge they had to solve for was how to explain Vicky the robot's noticeable body changes as actress Tiffany Brissett entered puberty. I remember a lot of talks about what are they going to do when she hits puberty and how are we going to make it make sense, Emily Schulman said. To explain her growth spurt canonically, the series producers had Ted give Vicky an upgrade in the series' third season.
Wait till they see this.
Ted aged her face, lengthened her joints, dressed her in modern clothes, and allowed her to eat and drink, explaining that food would pass through her naturally and that water would cool her internal systems.
Well, I installed a flash dehydrator and a polynucleotide processor in her.
That makes sense.
Well, you see, in layman's terms, that's sort of like a trash compactor that separates the solids in the food from the water. You see, the water is used to cool her internal systems, and the solids are used to create energy and byproducts. And, of course, you know what that means.
What?
Well, Vicky can use the bathroom now.
Oh no.
Behind the scenes, there was another set of challenges. The parents of the three kids did not get along and often led to backstage arguments. It was like Clash of the Titans, Emily Schulman recounted. None of the parents got along, and it wasn't like it was always fun and games for us kids. There was definitely tension between us. Brissette's mother Diane was involved in many of these backstage squabbles. She was frustrated that the adults on the cast got paid more than her daughter, saying she deserved to be paid more. Her mother was a great, and this is a very nice way of saying it, advocate for her daughter, Emily Schulman said. Tiffany's mom was also constantly pushing producers to let her daughter show off more of her skills. A veteran of child pageants, the multi-talented Brisette could sing, dance, ride horses, do gymnastics, and play the piano, but she wasn't able to display any of those skills as Vicky, as she had to remain robotic at all times. Staring expressionlessly and speaking in monotone does not come naturally to a child.
One of the most difficult things of playing a robot is to keep a straight face, especially when we have the hiccups. The idea is to put the ball in that hoop up there. In that hoop up there? Some guy 7 feet tall got paid $1 million just to do that. That computes out to $11,904.76 an inch.
According to Emily Schulman, I do remember that she had to bite the inside of her cheeks to keep from smiling. That was tough. My heart sort of broke for her. The show's writers would also complain about the show's banality and lack of innovation. Veteran and respected sitcom writer Mel Scherer, who used to write for Andy Kaufman, called out one script for featuring 8 pages of conversation with nothing else happening. It prompted him to ask if they were working on a sitcom or an oil painting. The good news was, it was the easiest schedule I've ever had on a sitcom, Scherer said. We were always done by 5:30, but it was just so obviously not good that there was no way of fixing it. The ratings confounded us, but it was the way Howard wanted it. Ultimately, a power struggle at the corporate level sealed the show's fate. The show was owned by 5 different companies, and after a while they just didn't agree. They knew they had made enough shows for syndication and didn't see a point in producing anymore. After 4 seasons and 96 episodes, Small Wonder came to an end. The series finale didn't wrap anything up. There was no big send-off, and no one got a clean ending to their story. And no one outside the Lawson family ever discovered that Vicky is an actual robot, not even nosy neighbor Harriet. There were talks about doing a spin-off series dedicated to the evil robot Vanessa called Too Good to Be True, but it died in the planning stages.
Fox Television Network's very first sitcom ever.
God, that's so wild.
Yeah.
But whatever happened to the star? That's what we want to know.
Dick Christie has continued to appear on television, and most recently has been a regular on The Bold and the Beautiful. Marla Pennington left showbiz after Small Wonder to start a family. Today, she's an avid cook with a series of handwritten cookbooks that her friends and family love. Jerry Ciprian had a rough life after the show. He retired from acting, lost all of his money to a shady financial advisor, suffered numerous health problems, and experienced homelessness for a time after dating a toxic stripper and lived under a bridge. But new reports indicate that he has found a new, happier life with his wife, Michelle. Emily Schulman made guest appearances on Mr. Belvedere, Alf, and The Wonder Years, and appeared in the movie Troop Beverly Hills, after which she retired from acting to become a Hollywood talent agent, which she did for 20 years before moving to Connecticut to be a theater director for a boarding school. The series star Tiffany Brisette appeared in a few other shows, but ultimately she retired from acting shortly after Small Wonder. According to Marla Pennington, Tiffany, I think, just wanted to step back and live a more normal life. She was pushed a lot. Her mom just pushed her too much, way too much.
She spent her Hollywood childhood hanging with other A-list stars like Drew Barrymore and was on the fast track to superstardom herself. But while her more famous friends continue to flourish in the spotlight, Brisette turned her back on celebrity.
When the show ended, I decided that it might be kind of fun to get involved in some sports activities and whatnot and just go to normal school. And after that, I just decided to finish out high school and then to go on to college. How's the food, by the way?
Today, Brissette lives a life that's a lifetime away from television's A-list on a horse farm in Colorado, where she also attends nursing school.
Tiffany is kept off of social media and lives a very private life away from the spotlight. I'm sure many of her fans would like to know where she is.
I know where she is, and so does Juliet. She's sitting right there. Hi, Tiffany.
You actually talk non-robot-like. I don't talk robot-like. Every once in a while, I'll slip into an English accent.
Yeah, but 4 seasons you talked like that robot.
I did. It got a little dull. I tried to sneak in a little emotion, and the producer would always remind me, no, you're a robot.
How old were you at the time? It was
9 to 13.
Well, there was a lot of competition, though, for that part. Had to be.
There was when we auditioned, yeah. So it was kind of a sigh of relief when the agent called and said that I got it, and it was thrilling.
How does it make you feel, though, because we're using this line, where are they now? Whatever happened to Tiffany, like you're dead or something, you're certainly not.
So wait, where are you?
So I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and I'm skiing and I'm biking and I'm working as a nurse, or I'm in nursing school and I'm finished, so.
Yeah, did you ever get married?
No marriage, no kids, not yet.
No kids.
Yeah.
You still have time, my love, you still have time.
Yeah.
Since that taping, Tiffany has earned a bachelor's degree in psychology and received a nursing degree. She now works as a registered nurse in Boulder, Colorado. And according to his family, show creator Howard Leeds died on February 11th, 2017 in his Los Angeles home after a long battle with illness. Small Wonder remained his final credited work in television. As for Small Wonder, the show was a surprise hit, but it was not critically embraced. Children loved the show, so did senior citizens, so did sci-fi clubs, who were delighted that a sci-fi sitcom existed. And because of syndication, the show was broadcast around the world on different stations and became a huge hit in India. But despite proving popular among viewers, it has been regarded by some critics as one of the worst sitcoms of all time. Almost 40 years after its debut, the show is simultaneously remembered with fondness and outright scorn. Other sitcoms of its kind were funny on the surface, but served as a vehicle for a deeper metaphor. Bewitched operated as a metaphor for women coming to terms with their power in an increasingly destabilized patriarchal context. Mork and Mindy allowed us to explore the world through childlike eyes and wonder, and allowed us to challenge established societal customs and systems. Even Alf, a show about a Muppet alien, was a metaphor for being away from family and how to find solace while dealing with loneliness and isolation. Small Wonder didn't seem to have a deeper meaning. The show didn't seem to have much of an opinion about anything. For decades, Small Wonder didn't see any type of home release. However, due to popular demand, the first 2 seasons were published to DVD in 2010. Seasons 3 and 4 have never been published and are considered lost media. I've been able to find a significant number of lost episodes and have restored them on my sister channel, the Rare Media Archive. I'll continue restoring lost episodes as I'm able to find them. Personally, I used to watch Small Wonder as a kid. I remember Harriet. She made me paranoid that one of my neighbors would spy on me through my windows, so I would keep the blind shut in my room. But most of all, I remember Tiffany Brissette. Even though she played a robot, somehow a real person was able to shine through. Someone authentic and real. She was better than the show. And even though I miss seeing her around, she has come to mean so much more to the people she heals every day.
Edie, what do you think of the fact that Tiffany's gone on, she's living in Colorado, and she's a nurse?
I think that that's a tribute to her upbringing, that she wasn't twisted by the system that can twist some children. And she seems to be a gorgeous young woman and ready to take care of her life.
Yeah.
Tiffany, thank you. Thank you.